What's up, everybody, and welcome to my social media book tour, the first one for 2025 for Storytime with the Anthony KT, a collection of my short stories. This one's a little bit different. This one is going to be available across all the social media platforms I am on, because there are because there this particular book is eight chapters, and it's eight chapters because there are eight different stories in this book. As you can see, I have covers for each story that's in here, and I want to make sure that all eight stories get their attention. So what I'm doing is, for the next 8 days, which is something I usually don't do for a social media book tour, but for the next 8 days, I'm going to be talking about each story in this book. I'm gonna talk a little bit about it, and then I'm gonna do a little reading from it. And welcome to day one for my social media book tour for Storytime with the Anthony KT, a collection of my short stories. So with that, we're gonna dive right in to the first one, and the first one is called The Young Man. Now, I'm gonna read I'm gonna read what The Young Man is about, and then I'm going to read a little from The Young Man itself. So, The Young Man, a story about when a laugh and a hello turns into a rare friendship that lasts a lifetime, while the young man has a secret he knows he can never share. Yeah. That's just a little bit about the story of what The Young Man is. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about The Young Man, but first I'm going to read from The Young Man a little bit. Okay. One day at work, the young man met a young woman. When he first met the young woman, she was sitting at a desk in an office, typing up some paperwork on a computer. The young man would say hello, and the young woman would say hello back. Those were the only words the young man and the young woman would say to each other for the next few months. It wasn't until a summer day at work in the play yard when the young man and the young woman would say more than just hello to each other. There was a child with curly red hair wearing a pair of glasses playing in the sand with another child. When another child poured sand into the child with curly hair wearing a pair of glasses. The young man in this story is a preschool teacher, and so is the young woman, who is also a preschool teacher and a bit of an office administrator as well. Um, just so you know. The young man then told the child with curly red hair wearing a pair of glasses a story of when the young man was a young boy and a child in a sandbox he was playing in poured sand on his head. As a way to make the child with curly red hair wearing a pair of glasses feel better, after another child poured sand on his head. The child with curly red hair wearing a pair of glasses laughed after hearing the part in the story when the kids in the sandbox called him Sandman when he was a young boy and sand poured on his head. The young woman also laughed. The young woman was listening to the story the young man had told the child with curly red hair wearing a pair of glasses. And when she laughed, the young man smiled. With one laugh, the young woman woke up. With one laugh, the young woman walked up to the young man and began talking to the young man. What started as a simple conversation became many conversations. On weekends, when the young man least expected it, the young woman would send him text messages to say hello, to check in, to see what the young man was up to. There were times when the young man and the young woman would talk all night. The young man saw what was a friendship with the young woman growing into something more that would last a lifetime. That's a little something from this book. It's called The Young Man. The book itself, Storytime with Anthony KT, a collection of my short stories, is available now on BarnesandNoble.com and on Amazon. And to tell you a little bit about The Young Man was a short story that I wrote back in 2015. In 2015, it's really the story about The Young Man is really a story about. It's a little bit about me and a friend of mine that I met during my first few years as a preschool teacher at a school we were both working at one time. And she really came into my life at a really unexpected time, at a really low point in my life. And she really came to be a good friend of mine, a really close friend of mine, and someone that was there for me at my lowest point, and I was there for her when she had some low points. And I was glad and honored to be there when she got married, and glad and honored to be there for her two amazing kids, and to watch the kind of mother she became has been a really cool thing to witness. And I'm really proud to have her as my friend. And that's what this story really was about. It's kind of like that line from it's kind of like that line from Dan and Shay, where it's like, hey, look what a hello from a stranger turned into. Granted, that song is really a love song about what that hello from a stranger turned into years later, and they're still in love, and he's glad, and the song is about that particular person, glad that person exists. Being that's the name of the song, Glad You Exist, which is a great song. When it comes to country music, Dan and Shay is one of my favorite country groups, country duos, I should actually say. But anyway, it's kind of like that. It's a friendship that becomes, it's this really good friendship, lasts a lifetime. And one of the stories that I look forward to all of you reading, if you get this book right here, Storytime with the Anthony KT, a collection of my short stories, is available now on BarnesandNoble.com and on Amazon. That'll do it here for day one, and I look forward to seeing you for day two. And in the meantime, in between time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Peace, y'all.